Hello, hello. Welcome to day 3 of our 7 days of EFT tapping challenge, right? After speaking about health and wealth in the last 2 days, today it's time to nurture the important relationships in our lives, right? So, day 3 is going to be tapping on forming much better relationships in our life, right? There's that one common pattern that I have observed a lot of times that has happened with myself also and with almost a lot of people I have worked with in the past, that amidst all the work that we have, be it, household work, be it our office work, our business related work, we often tend to forget to take care of the relationships that we are forming with people. And a lot of times we only speak to people because it's about we have some work with them, or maybe it's very transactional. It's very, to do with, okay, when we need them, we speak to them. Otherwise, we basically don't really talk to people. Or basically, it's just for the sake of doing it, that just because they are related to us, we have to talk to them. But it does not really come from the heart that, we really feel like speaking to people. We really feel like forming some good bonds, some good relationships. And that is why there is a lot of times that there's a lot of stress that people are under, that they don't have people to go up to when they need them, when they speak, when they want to speak to people, or when they just need some good friends to hang out with and have some fun with, right? So relationships are not just, when I say relationship, please don't confuse it as only the romantic relationship, maybe with your girlfriend, boyfriend, or husband and wife. No, relationships, I'm speaking in a very holistic manner in terms of anybody who comes in contact with you, who is basically important for you, for work as well as in your personal life. The relationships that you build with people should be so good that they are long lasting. So if you do want to build some long lasting relationships, EFT does help in a very amazing way for you to build some amazing long lasting relationships. But why are relationships important? We all know that, human beings are not naturally meant to stay alone. Imagine yourself being alone throughout your life, having no one to speak to, no one to smile with, no one to share your talks with. What kind of a life would that be? That aloof life, right? And we don't want that. Human beings are basically made to interact with each other, to speak with each other, to like each other, and basically maybe marry each other, right? To love each other, care for each other. But there should be people whom we care for, we love, we want to really stay connected with. It may be a business related relationship also. We want to build some good terms with our vendors, with our customers, with our clients. So ultimately relationships play a hugely significant role in our life, and that is why EFT comes into play, because it helps nurture the relationships better. And there are three major benefits that are coming to my mind when I say how does EFT come into play. So basically, whenever there are some, let's say, negative patterns forming in your head, which are not letting you build good relationships with people, it helps remove those negative patterns from your head. All right. So that's a major plus that EFT helps with in building better relationships. Secondly, it makes you a happier person within. So when you are a happy person, you naturally attract amazing people in your life. Imagine being sad, depressed, always crying, cribbing, complaining. Many people would not like to be in touch with you. If you're, constantly only complaining about things or stressing about things. But if you're just a natural, happy going person who just makes others happy all around, imagine the kind of positive energy you will also attract all the time, right? And how much people will naturally love you because they see you as that smiling, happy going, amazing person who is not really complaining and is always grateful for what they have, right? So EFT makes you a happier person, thus naturally improving the relationships in your life. And thirdly, it helps you stay calm amidst all the chaos. So a lot of times what happens is that we try to control a lot of things in our life, some people in our life, and that messes around with us because of the expectations that we have and a lot of other things. And that messes our head, that basically leads us into a lot of chaos, chaotic mindset. EFT helps release that chaos from our heads so that we naturally become more positive, more happy, more de stressed, right? And naturally are able to form better relationships with people, right? So, on that note, we are now going to start tapping. But before that, as I always ask you to do, please, if you struggle with maintaining good relationships in your life, you often feel that you have a lot of fights with people, or maybe you're losing on your friends, some good friends that you had in school and college, but you've not been able to stay in touch with them, right? Or you have been, let's say, having some fights amidst your own family or relatives or friends, or you've lost a lot of people in your life because of some anger issues or any issue because of which you're not able to retain relationships, whatever reason that may be, right? It's time to bring that issue into your consciousness, which is that you're not able to really form good relationships with people, both family, friends, relatives, or clients, your business relationships. And rate the intensity of that feeling between a 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. That means that if you really are amazing when it comes to your relationships, please rate it as a 1, right? Or a 0. But if you are someone who feels that I'm losing a lot of people, good people in my life, and there is something that needs to be worked on, so basically we need to bring that energy up. All right, cool. On that note, we will start tapping now, starting from the karate chop point. Okay, so let's start. Even though there are times when I have really struggled with forming deep, meaningful relationships in my life, I still choose to love, honor, and respect myself. Even though there have been times when I have made mistakes and have not really cared for people genuinely and thus lost a lot of people in my life that way, I still choose to love, honor, and respect myself. Even though I often find myself alone, not having someone to speak to when I'm sad, I still choose to love, honor, and respect myself. All right, let's start tapping from the eyebrow point, okay? I feel that there is something missing that does not let me form good relationships in my life. I think I have been suffering with losing a lot of good people from my life, be it my good friends who once used to be so important for me, who once used to be like my life, are nowhere near me now. I have lost relationships at my personal level. There have been times when I have not been able to form good relationships with my clients and I have lost them. Though I wanted to, it was not like I lost people on intention. I wanted to hold them, but maybe I did not make as much effort as I could have made. And there can be many reasons behind it. Now that I'm looking back in time, there can be many reasons behind failed relationships. One big reason is that maybe I often only talk to people when I needed them. Or maybe that's something that I do still today. That I call people only when I need them, that I speak to people only when there's a need, not really to listen to them, not really to form that genuine bond with them, but because there is some help that I need from them. And once that is done, that's over for me. Then I don't remember that person anymore. That's not a true relationship, because a true relationship is built upon genuine care, is built upon genuine affection with the other person. Just like, let's say, the relationship that I have with my child or with my mother. Those two are the purest form of relationships that I know in my life. Because I don't just speak to my mother because she can help me with doing something and then I forget her. No. Or I will not love my children only because they solve a purpose for me. Maybe they give me money or maybe they do my work. No. I genuinely love them for who they are. But with every other person in this world, we associate a lot of expectations. We associate a lot of ways in which we expect them to behave. And when they don't do that, we tend to be angry on them. We tend to not speak to them. We tend to, dislike the other person just because they could not adhere to the standards we wanted them to expect. But who am I to really expect from the other person as to how they should be or what they should be doing and what they should not be doing? Who am I to even control anyone in their life? When I don't like anyone controlling me, why should I be controlling the other person? Why should I be controlling what they do, how they speak to me? They do my work or they don't do my work? No. Maybe I have been trying to do that with people. Maybe I've been trying to force myself upon people, my beliefs, my thought process, and expecting the other person to be like me. And that's the reason that I'm having fights. That's the reason that I'm not able to build relationships. Maybe I'm acting like a boss, a typical boss with my employees, and they dislike me for that because I don't give them a say. I don't give them a say in deciding how they want to work. And I'm just forcefully forcing people to be the same way as me. Maybe I'm doing it with my wife or my husband, that they have their own thought process. And whenever they try to discuss it with me, I don't listen to them because, in my opinion, my belief is the best. And that is the root cause why important relationships fail. Because I always give more importance to my ego as compared to the other person in my life. My ego, my thought process, my thinking, what I think about something becomes more important than my love and care and affection for the other person. In that moment of anger, I forget that the other person has their own uniqueness. They have their own originality. They have their own thought process. They're a different human being than me. And the same way as I would love for other people to respect me, I should also respect the other person. I should also respect the other person for what they are. And today that I'm realizing this, that I have been trying to not give the other person the free will, and I've been trying to control how other persons behave, and I have been expecting a lot from them. This is a mistake that I'm doing. Today, I decide to understand the fact that I really cannot control anyone in this life. I really cannot control anyone's actions, anyone's words, except my own actions, except my own words. What I'm expecting my husband and wife to do for me, they will not do for me, but what's in my control is that I do it for them. If I am expecting a hug from someone, why not I go and give it first? If I am expecting someone to come and speak to me first after a fight, why can't I go and do it for them? Why does ego come in the way in between? Why don't I go and say a sorry? I'll not become a smaller person if I go and say a sorry. Because if the relationship is truly important for me, if the other person is truly important for me and they really mean something to me, be it in office as a colleague, be it my husband or wife, my parents, my children, my clients, if I truly, truly, truly want to build that long lasting relationship with the other person, I need to be the first person to make the effort, not the other person, because I genuinely cannot expect or control them to do things the way I want them to do. So the only person and the only thinking that I can control is of my own, not of the other person. So today I decide to take control of my actions and take control of all the important relationships in my life. If I have been angry, if I have been wanting the other person to do things a certain way, I decide today that I am no one to control that. The other person has a free will to act the way they want to. I cannot control their life. I don't want to control anyone's life. Why should I act as a cage for a free bird? I don't want to be that cage. I don't want the bird to feel angry on me that why am I keeping it trapped? Why am I not letting it fly? No, I cannot be that person. I want to be a free person and I want the people around me to also feel free, to feel light, to feel happy. Why do I have to have ego? Ego kills relationships. Today I decide to let go of that. Because if the relationship is truly important to me, if my wife, my husband, my family, my clients are truly important for me, then there's no place for ego in between. Today I decide to let go of ego. Today I decide to be a better communicator. Always, 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 relationships are built stronger on communication. When the communication goes dead, when we start giving silent treatment to each other, the relationship dies eventually. So silent treatment is never a solution to it. Even if I'm angry with an important person in my life, I'll go and speak to them. I'll try to communicate why I was saying what I was saying rather than giving them a silent treatment and expecting them to come back and say a sorry to me. No, expectations hurt always. So there is no place for expectations in relationships. There's no place for ego in relationships. And communication is the only way that the toughest of problems can be solved. So today I decide to be a better communicator, to be better in terms of explaining my point to the other person without being angry, without bringing my ego in between, but just with a noble intention that the relationship matters to me. If the other person is still not ready to listen to me or still is angry, that's okay. I really cannot do anything about it. But at least I will know at the end of the day that I tried my level best. That for me, the relationship mattered. That I gave the other person importance. So at least I will not feel guilty that the relationship did not work out because of me. I would have done every possible thing that is in my own control to save the important relationship. So today, I decide to be the main hero in my relationships and save them from sinking because that person matters more. Not my ego, not my anger, not my stress, not their stress. Nothing matters except that beautiful bond that I can form with people. Today, I decide that I'll not be transactional when it comes to building relationships, that I'll not just speak to people because I need them, maybe because they can pay me money. No, if it's my customer, I need to give them value. That should be my primary aim behind building good relationships with my customers and not the money that I can take out of their pockets because that intention shows. And when the other person realizes that my only motive is money, I'll not be able to build lifelong relationships. And it may work out for me in the short run, but even in business, I will not be able to succeed if I'm only doing it for money. Rather, my focus should be on building lifelong relationships with my customers, with my clients, so that they stay with me, so that they keep doing business with me, so that eventually they and me both can work together and both can be in that win win situation. Today, I decide to become better in terms of my relationships, to show empathy to people and not just keep it transactional, to keep building empathy, towards people, genuine care and genuine attention to people, and not just because I feel that I can get something in return. I think I'm ready to start building better relationships, and I'm so excited and so looking forward to being the lead hero or heroine in forming the important decisions in terms of who is it that is important in my life and what do I need to do to build better relationships. Today, I decide to be genuine and caring towards the important people in my life. Today, I decide to be genuine, caring, and form deep rooted, meaningful relationships in my life. Today, I decide that I'm going to form some amazing, beautiful, deep rooted, and meaningful relationships in my life. All right, you can now close your eyes and take a deep breath. Yeah. And whenever you're ready, just open your eyes and relax. And measure your intensity as to how you feel after the tapping session that you did. I'm sure it would have come down, and you're so ready to form some amazing, beautiful, deep rooted, meaningful relationships in your life, right? And I'm so looking forward to seeing you as a happier person deep within who naturally attracts some beautiful souls in their lives, because life is all about living, being happy with the people we love, right? So let's do that. Let's keep our ego aside, let's keep our expectations aside, and let's be that person whom probably we are expecting the other person to be for us, right? So we can do that. All right, on that note, we'll stop the session now, and I'll see you tomorrow on day 4 of our 7 days of EFT tapping challenge. Until then, please take care and keep practicing emotional freedom technique.